Welcome to week 26 of the Ray of Hope Crochet Along, and this week we're making the V Waffle stitch. This is a really interesting stitch. It's very highly textured and it's got a very unique look. So, how do we make it? Okay, so for this stitch we're going to use a 3.5mm hook. I'm going to start with the foundation chain of 81. So we're making this rectangle on the long side. Okay, so in the fourth chain from your hook, you're going to make a double crochet. So that turning chain counts as your first stitch, which is a double crochet. Okay. So now we're going to skip 2 stitches, and in the next stitch we're going to make 2 double crochet in the same stitch. Okay. Chain 1, and in the next stitch we're going to make 2 double crochet. So both double crochet made in the same stitch. Okay, so now we're going to skip 3 stitches, and in the next stitch make 2 double crochet. Okay, so we're into the pattern of this row now. So after the 2 double crochet in the same stitch, going to chain 1, and in the next stitch make 2 double crochet, both in the same stitch. Then we're going to skip 3 stitches, and in the next stitch make 2 double crochet in the same stitch. So the pattern for this row is you're going to skip 3 stitches, make 2 double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochet both in the same stitch in the next stitch, then skip 3 stitches and make another 2 double crochet. So you kind of end up with these pairs of double crochet in a V shape. Okay, so 2 double crochet in the stitch next to each other, the chain 1 in between, and you skip 3 stitches and start again. Okay, and that's the pattern for row 1. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this row, and I shall come back when I get to the end. Okay, so end of row 1, and I've got 3 stitches left. Okay, so I've got my last repeat of 2 double crochet in the stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochet in the next stitch, leaving me with 3 stitches. So to finish the row, I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches and double crochet in the last stitch. Okay, so that's row 1 complete. So then you're going to turn, chain 1, make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. Okay, so let's start the rest of our waffles, our V waffles, and let's get that lovely texture added in. Okay, so we're going to skip this first double crochet here, and in this next double crochet we're going to make a front post double crochet. So we just insert the hook around the post, so instead of working into the loops at the top, we're just going around the post and make a double crochet. Okay, now in the chain space in the middle of the 2 sets of 2 double crochet, we're going to make a double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet, and then round the post of the next double crochet we're going to make a front post double crochet. Okay, so we're only ever working on the inside double crochets. These 2 on the outside we're going to just ignore. So we're going to skip the next 2 double crochet, and then around the next one, which is the inside one right before the chain 1, we're going to make a front post double crochet. Then into the chain 1 space, we're going to double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. And then we're going to front post double crochet around this next double crochet. So you can see that lovely texture coming through, and your V waffles, you can start seeing them coming through now. So they just make this lovely texture on the top. And that's the pattern through the whole row. So this is actually a really easy stitch once you get into the pattern. So we skip the outside double crochet, skip the next outside double crochet, and then on the one right before the chain 1 space, make the front post double crochet. Into the chain 1 space, make a double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. Okay, and then front post double crochet around that next double crochet. See those coming through. So we're going to carry on with that all the way down to the rest of the row. Okay, so I shall see you in a moment. Okay, so I'm at the end of row 2, and I've done my last set of front post double crochet stitches, and I've got these last 2 double crochet left. And to finish the row, all I'm going to do is just normal double crochet in the last 2 stitches and into that turning chain. Oops, easier if I take that out. And there we go. So we'll turn and start row 3. Okay, so row 3 is pretty much exactly the same as row 2. The only difference in these rows is that on one end we've got 2 double crochet and on the other end we've got 1. But the pattern for working into your stitches is exactly the same. Okay, so for row 3, turn chain 1 and make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. Just mark that. Okay, and then we're going to double crochet in the next stitch. So exactly the same. We're going to ignore these outer double crochet and into the inner one before the chain 1 space. So this outer one here, that's your front post double crochet, and this inner one is the double crochet you made in the chain space in the row below. So ignore the front post double crochets, and around the double crochet we'll make a front post double crochet. Then into the chain space, make a double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. Make a front post double crochet around the next double crochet, and then ignore the outside stitch, which is the front post double crochet in the row below. So ignore that one, ignore the next stitch, and make front post double crochet around the double crochet. Then working into the chain space, double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet, and then front post double crochet around the next stitch. You can see those V's coming through. I'll just turn back to the other side. See, it looks slightly different, rose row, because you're working in the front and then the back, but it makes this really, really interesting texture. So I'm going to carry on with that pattern, and I shall see you when I get to the end of the row. Okay, so I'm at the end of row 3 and I made my last front post double crochet. So you can see we've got the last double crochet which is on the outside of the set of V's, so ignore that, and then just double crochet in that last stitch. And this is the only difference from row 2, is this is one double crochet on the end rather than 2. And there we go. So rows 4 to 7, you're repeating rows 2 and 3. And you can have this pattern all the way up. Okay, so there's one side and the other, and you'll see different repeats all the way up. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that, and I shall see you when I get finish row 7, and I'll show you what we're doing for the slip stitch border. Okay, so I finished all 7 rows, and you end up with this really quite stretchy fabric. So it'll be brilliant for things like headbands and that you want to get a nice stretch on. Okay, so for the slip stitch border, across the bottom you're going to make a slip stitch into every stitch of your foundation chain. Okay, and across the top you're going to make a slip stitch into every front post double crochet, every double crochet, and into that chain 1 space as well. So you'll have 79 stitches top and bottom, and down the sides you're going to make 2 slip stitches into the side of every single row. So you'll have 14 slip stitches down either side. So once you've done that, you can weave in your ends and join it to last week's piece. So thank you for joining me, and I shall see you next week for week 27. Bye for now.